I'm Brittany Rizzo, and welcome back to My Only Friends. I've missed doing this show so much. I took a little bit of time off for my own mental health, but I'm back now with a fabulous guest. Today, I had the pleasure of chatting with Mia Hunt. Mia Hunt is an LAFA 2021 Best Actress Award winner for the indie film Rest Area. You can catch Mia's raw and keep it real style from her latest guest star roles on Hulu's This Fool, Abbott Elementary, as well as the no-nonsense reoccurring waitress on NBC's Good Girls, along with numerous commercials, theater projects, and indie films. This episode reminded me of the Friends episode, the one with the soap opera party. Rachel completely freaks out that she gets to be with the cast of Days of Our Lives. Mia and I talk about her experience of working on her favorite soap opera, Young and the Restless, and having to keep her cool. Mia and I had an honest, candid conversation about dating, how to love and accept yourself, and how everything always works out the way it's supposed to. We had a really good time getting to know one another better, and I hope you do too. Please enjoy my interview with Mia Hunt.
I'm like, got it.
Let's go. I'm so excited to get to talk to you and really get to know you more. I mean, we've met very briefly, and I don't even think it was like a introduction. We were all just a part of the same Q&A. Mm-hmm. And I always found that you were asking the best questions.
Oh, okay. At the meet and greet.
Yes, at the meet and greet, because we have the same agent.
Yeah.
And when I had her on, she was like, Mia needs to come on here. And I was like, let's do it.
Let's do it. I love it. I love Desi. I love you. I love what you're doing. This is cute. This is real cute.
Thank you. Also, Mia is one of my favorite names ever.
Oh, yay. It took me a long time to embrace my name. And so I love it now. But as a kid, everybody used to always ask, well, what's your real name? Michelle. They just call me Mia all the time and then later when I grew up and got used to the name and then I would go to the club and didn't want to give out my real name, I would always go Michelle. So,
oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. You know, it's interesting because I felt does every kid go through this where there's a part of their life they don't like their name? Because I remember my middle name's Nicole and I'd be like, no, I want people to call me Nicole instead. But then Britney Spears came out and I was like, no, my name is Britney.
I know that's right. I'm proud of it. Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. But it's also very 90s. It's you have Jessica Marie or Sarah Ann or Brittany Nicole and it's so very 90s names.
Yeah. No, Mia was in the 70s. Mia was like, what? Where'd you get this name from? The only popular Mia, which is what my mom named me out of after, was Mia Farrow. And she was an actress back in the day, not knowing that I would later on go to be an actress and all this stuff. So
yeah.
So I embrace it. Everybody tells me all the time, oh, I love your name. And they started doing that in college. And I was like, you know what? I do have a cool name.
Yeah. Well, I always think of Princess Diaries because she was Princess Mia. Yeah. And I remember, and I remember when she signed an autograph as Princess Mia and it was so beautiful. And I was like, oh, I wish I could write my name like that.
That's cute. See that? I mean, of course, Mia became popular. Even when I taught school, everybody's name was Mia. But when I was growing up, I was the only Mia forever.
Wait, you taught school. What did you teach?
I taught elementary from anything from kinder to 6th grade.
That is substitute? Or were you a full teacher?
I went to college, got the education degrees, came out of college, went straight into a job teaching. Mm-hmm.
That is so amazing.
It was crazy. Yeah. I don't do it anymore, but for a long time I did. My last teaching job was in 2019, 20, right before the pandemic.
Okay. And so let's get into the story. When did you decide, okay, I'm going to be an actor? When did you always want to be a teacher? Because when I was little, my sister really wanted to be a teacher. And she would literally have my mom take her to Learning is Fun to get the school supplies and pretend to play teacher at home.
And we love the pretend teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. No.
Okay.
No. I decided at 12, I wanted to be an actress. So at 12, I told my dad that I wanted to be an actress. I was actually, my father is in like a key grip. I don't know if you're familiar with the set life, but he works on the lights and, works the dolly and all this stuff. And he's been doing that forever. And so I'm from Texas, I'm from Dallas. And there used to be a show called Dallas, arguing and all that. And my father was a grip out there. And so in the summer, I would go with him. And so one summer, while I was 12, I saw the lead character. Her name is Linda Gray, but it was Sue Ellen, JR's wife or whatever. She had a little hot thing, Christopher Atkins, who was part of Blue Lagoon, blonde hair, beautiful. And that was her boyfriend on the show, and so they kissed right in front of me, like, acting, cut action. And then they just was like, really kissing. And I looked at my dad when they said cut and I said, that's what I want to be. He was like, yeah, right. You're going to be a doctor. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So, probably some weeks later, my mom, that's when the camcorder first come out and she was videotaping me. And she actually has this videotape. I don't know if she still does, but she talks about it all the time. And she was interviewing me and like, what do you want to be, Mia? So Mia, what are you into? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, well, I'm into boys and I want to be an actress. I want to be on TV. That's what I said. I want to be on TV. And she said, oh, okay. So when people interview her or we talk now, she always go, oh, she told me at 12. It's recorded.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. That's so cute.
All about the kiss. And I haven't been kissed like that on screen yet, but
it'll happen. It'll happen. Who would you choose to be your like first romantic on-screen kiss with?
Oh gosh. Oh, it's so many. I really, to be honest, because I have someone like trying to get me in his short right now. And he said, I just got to find you a husband. Just got to find you a husband. And
Same.
I was like, good. Everybody's doing that right now. But I was just like, someone to play my husband. And he was like, do you have any ideas? Or, I said, I just want him to be tall and I would like to be attracted to him, to be handsome. But I kind of want to be a surprise. I didn't want him to have us link up. I said, because I'll find the attraction in the role. So I really don't have like, ooh, I would just want to, do a kissing scene with anybody. Like I prefer someone new chemistry. It's both of us. So
yeah. With all that being said, you grew up in Texas. And then you have this moment on set where you're like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So was it from that point on, did you start taking classes as a young kid?
No, because both of my parents had no idea what to do. And that came with that. So as soon as I entered high school, I started taking theater. And I did theater throughout high school. And then I got ready to go off to college. I think there was a lot of trauma going on. And I decided to stay home instead of going off to college. I didn't want to lose my parents. I was going through all this. And so when I went to college, I met my first husband. And so there went Hollywood, because I was just like determined I'm going to go move to Hollywood, no husband, no kids. This is what I'm going to do. And my dad was like, well, I think you should go get a degree. And then once you get a degree, you can still decide on what you do. At least you can get a job to maintain your acting. But so that's when I was going to a community college doing theater as well. But I tried to transfer and get like a theater degree or something. And then they were like, no, well, you're going to have to take calculus and only so many of your associate's degree is going to transfer here. And I was like, okay, wait, tell me what I can do with this associate's degree that'll transfer into this bachelor and I lose no credit. And they said, oh, you could go into education. That's how education came. So did that with my eyes closed and became a teacher and got married, had kids, still was doing my acting thing, being an extra on anything that came through Dallas. My father would get me to be an extra on like commercials and stuff in Dallas, because he worked both. And I go out there and they may upgrade me or something like that. But I was always taking classes at like I wouldn't do a whole theater degree or a whole program, but I would go to certain places and take little classes like for commercials to learn the, notes, like the basics. And then the same place had where you could audition for different things written on a board, because we didn't have all this internet crap. So it was just weird. So I saw they were auditioning for a baseball commercial for the Texas Rangers. And I went out for it and I booked it.
Hell yeah.
That kind of went like, okay, you're an actor.
Yeah.
And then it went to where I was just booking commercials, started booking theater, did my first like theater show, like a huge show with some stars and stuff in it. And I loved it. So yeah, my focus has been from the beginning is from 12-year-old. I want to be on a television show and I want to be the lead and I want to be, and so that's been the whole goal.
Mm-hmm.
Life is life all the way up. I've been married twice, have 5 children, and I've never stopped dreaming, never stopped acting.
I love that. And like, I think a lot of people think too that like once you get married and like start a family, then your career is just over. Like it has to be one or the other. And, you know, we're in this time now where that is so not the case. And I know a few people where like they only ever started booking once they had their kids and like became a mother.
Yeah, because it lends to the role, to every role that I've probably booked since. It's always either mother or aunt or teacher or understanding of my whole life path. So I think a lot of times we run from that and we want to just focus and not live. And really it's the living that lends to the acting.
Absolutely. So when did you move to LA?
I moved officially to LA in 2007. I moved. My first husband never wanted to come to LA. He didn't want to really support the acting dream. He supported it so long that it didn't mess with the bills. You know what I mean? He's like, you need a real job. You need to. So when we finally divorced, I moved out here with my 2 girls. And it took me from 2007 to just try to, I did some theater. I did extra work like crazy. And I love that. I love extra work. Like I could still do extra work today because I just feel like,
really?
Like you just kind of, it's made up, I guess. And I don't know. I've always been in the union. So yeah, been, pretty good extra work. And I'm always picked as like a feature or something. Right. I'm really doing my job. Like if you tell me to walk, I'm going to walk. You know what I mean? So, right. And it was better than waiting tables for me at the time. So I paid a lot of my bills with just doing background work. But then when I actually started auditioning, it became a conflict. Some of the shows I was signing up the background, I had an audition or a callback for, so I had to let it go. Right. So. Yeah,
it's interesting. I feel like everybody who comes to LA should absolutely do extra work at least once in their life. Yeah. And I think it also just makes you appreciate like when you are a principal on set or, getting up on the call sheet as opposed to a background actor, like you're going to be much nicer to those background actors because those background actors have been sitting there for 6 hours only to be used for 30 minutes. And they've been up since 6 a.m. to beat the traffic. They're starving. You know what I mean? Like, I think, and also like you see how everything works and you get to study. Every time I'm on any set, it is a studying experience for me.
I used to learn so much and that was like the really big plus for it. I would learn good classes. I would learn, about restaurants. The people that were doing background work knew everything, all from everything, so it was so fun making friends. I learned in my first, calling service through another actor. Yeah. I got to be background in soaps, which was very hard at that time to do because they do their own casting. So I got to be background on Young and the Restless through somebody who wanted to be with my agent at the time. And so she hooked me up with the soap and I hooked her up with the agent. So it was, those are the things that people are hungrier to me in the background field. So we're willing to share. We're willing to try to help whatever. We're trying to get somewhere. So.
Yeah. And look, a bad day on set as an extra is better than a good day waiting tables. Let me tell you that.
Hey, that part. That entire part, for real. Yeah. Seriously, I was like, I'm getting fed. I'm really being treated well, whether I was doing non-union or union. And, and like you say, now that I do principal work, when I'm there, some of the people that I talk to most often are the background actors. I make sure I say hello. And make sure that, I talk to my stand-in and, because I know how it is, you know what I mean? Yeah. I know how I feel. I want them to feel important as well. So yeah, you're right.
When did you feel like you were finally getting your career on your feet out in LA? Because I mean, watching your reel and I feel like in the past few years alone, you have been booking like crazy. And on some incredible shows, Mr. Mayor, Abbott Elementary, Good Girls, which is like, I have to talk to you about Good Girls because I was obsessed with that show. Like Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, Retta. Oh my God. So good. That show is so good. And I'm like known for being such a baby. Like I'm terrified of everything. And that show gave me nightmares, even though it was like network television, like so light in terms of like, how dark it could be.
Yes.
But it still creeped me out enough. But it was one of the best shows and I was so bummed it got canceled. But you were great in that. And like, It was so funny because watching it, I'm like, God, I'm looking at you as like their waitress and I'm like, just let them order the food. Like, I'm getting mad at you. I'm like, just stop, just let them order the food and sit there.
Right. Because they got this whole thing set up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's such an amazing time.
Yeah.
Such an amazing time with amazing people. And when they kept bringing me back, I was floored. It started out as just a co-star, you know, and not just a co-star. I shouldn't say that, but it started out as a co-star and it turned into a recurring co-star. And I was over the moon. I just could not. It was just, the audition was fun. And that's usually not the case. So I could say just about on everything that I've booked television wise, the auditions, I knew it. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm going to kill this because this is really good. This is real life. I could see myself doing this. And then ta-da, you know? Right. So I think that's important too. I hate getting auditions. I really do that I just have no connection with. I do them because Daisy will kill me if I don't.
Right.
But I do them just for the experience. But I always feel like I'm stretching or I'm trying to act bubbly or I'm trying to act this. But the things where I can just be Mia and be Mia as a waitress, because I've never been a waitress. So when they said Cranky, in the description, Cranky been there working there all her life. She thinks she runs the thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I've had waitresses like that. No personality, could care less about whatever you're going through.
Right.
I was like, okay, cool. And then they talk, because I hadn't seen the show at the time. I didn't know what, I just got Good Girls and I asked my kids and one of my daughters, it was like one of her favorite shows. She was like, oh my God, the sexy Rio.
Oh, he's so hot.
Yeah. All she talked about. And so I was like, okay. So I went and looked at like one episode or clip or something on IMDb just to get the tone and see what they were talking about. And know who the characters were. And so when I got ready to do the audition, I did it with my then 12-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My daughter, she was just like, oh, Mom. I said, okay, do this. And then I was placing people like everywhere. Yeah. I had them all in the restaurant. I was really, and I mean, we probably did that thing 100 times. Cause I felt like, and then I was like, oh, wait, let me add a pencil. Oh, wait, let me add this towel. And if you saw my page, you see that. And I usually put the audition along with the screen once it makes it to screen. And somebody said, I saw that in your audition without even having to see the show. I saw everything that, you know, how it was laid out because I watched the show. So, and I have a girl, she follows me like crazy. And I feel like, oh my God, I made it. You know, she's never met me before, but she's just so in love with that, with me from that show.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's cool. She started following me on Twitter. Then she started following me on everything on TikTok. And she just always comments and, you know, so it's just so cool. And we've never met before.
I love that. See, that's the thing is like we do these things, whether it be music or acting or podcasts, and we really never know who it affects. And like I took a step away from this for like a month or so, which put me really behind in my own terms, in my own head. But then I went back home to Las Vegas and I saw a couple people, or my mom was like, oh, I ran into this person and they were like so proud of your podcast and they've listened to every episode. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is why I do it. I don't do it for the numbers. I don't do it because I want to make all this money. Like I do it because there's somebody out there who like is very inspired by it and connects with it. And like as artists, that's all we could ever hope for in what we're doing.
Yes. Yes, and I'm proud of you. I think this is the cutest thing ever. I've had a girlfriend said she was going to start a podcast. She's another actress, and I was like, I want to start one so bad, but I haven't a clue. I don't know what I would do. I'm not this structured. This is amazing. And then she even said, okay, well, I'll just do this, and you can be my co-host. And it never got off the ground. She went into real estate, and so each time, and so when I see someone like you that's really doing it, like you said, it's not about the numbers. You're actually doing something that makes sense, and it's so cute. And then with the whole Friends thing, oh please, it was perfect. It's perfect. I love Friends.
Oh girl,
I love that was the goal, and I never got to be an extra on Friends. I was trying everything because at that time it was shooting. I got on Dormant Greg, I got on all these old shows, but never got on Friends. And I was like, I'm gonna be the first Black girl on Friends, and you know.
Oh my gosh.
She got it. She was on Criminal Minds too. I can't think of her name right now.
Gabrielle Union.
No.
Oh, Aisha. Aisha.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Aisha. She's on Criminal Minds. You know, she was on Criminal Minds after that. I was like, oh, she got my role, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let's get back to we'll get back to Friends. Don't you worry. But I want to get back to the question of when did you feel like in LA you finally started getting on your feet here, where you were like, okay, I moved here and it's going well. It was for a reason.
That's a toughie because really, I would have said the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
I really would have said like the beginning of this year, I wasn't having to work. I wasn't having to drive Uber. I was acting and I was doing everything from acting. So it still could be this year. But as far as my most comfortable or probably say, hey, you this is where you're supposed to be. Probably 2020 when I moved back because I was in Texas. I moved here in 2007. I booked Criminal Minds in 2016 and I thought I had made it. I thought, swear to God, I was buying everybody Benzes and a house, you know, on my co-star role. Because I was like, all they had to do is see me. Once I get in here, it's on, you know? And so that was in 2016 and I was in the scene with Shamar Moore and he was like, you're good. He was like, you're so natural. Like, what, you know, like, what else are you doing? I said, this is my first co-star, like my first time speaking on network television. And he was floored. He was like, oh, girl, there'll be many more to come. He was like, you got it. You know what I mean? Nothing. After do that, I mean, you know what I mean? I ended up moving back to Texas to be with my mom. A long story there. And I went back into teaching. I still was acting and I had gotten Desi 2018. I think I was still in Dallas. Desi, but that's a whole nother story how me and Desi, it's crazy. But either way, once I got Desi and I was like, yo, I'm in Dallas, but I promise you I can get on a flight if I book something and go. And my husband at the time was like the worst. He didn't want me to do any of that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that was my second husband. So anyway, I started booking a lot of commercials again in Dallas. I started doing a lot of theater in Dallas, which I was happy because I was there to be with my mom and they allowed me to do all that. And then me and Desi connected. And right out the gate, she was like, well, if you could pick a series to be on, if you could do, I said, I want to do a soap. I want to be on Young and the Restless, which I watched every day like a freaking junkie, for real. It was really bad. I've let it go for 2 years now, but nobody can believe it. Nobody, because I was stuck on that show. So either way, I auditioned for Young and the Restless and I booked it from Dallas. I flew out here. I went to the audition. We were still going in person. I was, you know, and self-tape was coming into play then, but I was failing at self-tape. I was just like, they need to see me. They need to feel my presence. They need to, you know what I mean? Let me charm them, you know, which was what to me made a difference in my auditioning. And once I got a hold of the best way to do the self-tape, I think I booked something self-tape finally. And I recorded it like, oh my God, yeah, I booked it. It was like an improv show. Through Desi, I flew out here and I shot it. But once I got it down of how to do a self-tape, I never want to go back in the room again. Like
same. It is so crazy to me when people don't like self-tapes. I love self-tapes.
You have to find your thing for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once it clicks on, I think it's the best thing for anybody because you get to take all the nerves out and you get to work it. You feel like you can work it. What better way? And to me, it's better when you go to set like that because you've already worked it. You've already, you know, got that out of your system. So you created whatever they seem to have liked. Once you get there, you just, you know, go with it. Right. But you were just going in the room, you book it, you probably never looked at the script again. I mean, you know what I mean? You didn't get to work it. So you just did a cold read. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I find that like with self-tapes, the only thing I do miss is like a redirect because I think that's what I pride myself in is like, if somebody's like, okay, do it this way. And I'm like, got it. Like understand it so well. And I love adjustments. But again, my anxiety does not allow me to have a good in-person audition because I will not sleep the night before because I'll be afraid that I'm going to be late. Then I leave so early because I'm afraid of traffic. Then I'm worried about parking tickets. Then I get there and I'm sweaty and I'm anxious. And I'm like, I've forgotten why I'm even here by the time I get into the room. And I just being able to do a self-tape and feel as stupid as I need to like get to where I need to be. It's like, oh, it's so much better. And then you like I do love also, like I told Desi, I love that she only gives us like 2 days sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, she's trying to kill me.
Days. I feel like I get 1 day, couple hours. And
yeah.
At first I was hating her for it. I was like, stop that. I gotta get in the character. Like, what is it? But once it was just like self-tape, once you get it down and know this is it, you got a day, you got 2 days. It's no around. You know what I mean? You got to do it.
Right.
It pushes you to do it. But if you know you got next week, you're going to mess with it a couple times. You're going to I'm going to put it down. I may not get to it, so she's doing great.
You just don't have time to think about it so much, because if I have something for a week, all of a sudden this is like an entire movie and it's not even like a co-star line anymore. Who is this person anymore? And I'm a
totally new character every 5 minutes. I play with it. Oh, I didn't like that. Then I'm gonna go. So now when I push them out, and this is what you get. If you like it, you don't. It took me so long to get there. So yeah. Now, being on Young and the Restless, I mean, that's got to be when you're watching it every day and you're like, wow, now I'm here. That's manifesting, in my opinion. It was. I was on a mic like you are doing some ADR work for a film I had done in Texas. I did my first feature there. It was just great. But either way, I was doing it and I had the mic and, we were all playing. And then I took a picture. I had someone take a picture of me with the mic, and then I wrote out this list of what I wanted from that mic if I was speaking it to an existence. And I said, this commercial, I said, Young and the Restless, I called it out by name. I only wish I would have called out I Need a Series regular, but whatever. but in the next, that was in October, because it may still be on my social media, but it was in October. I booked a commercial and Young and the Restless in February, a day apart. They wanted me to fit for the commercial. I couldn't, because I had to fly to LA, shoot Young and the Restless, come back and shoot the commercial the next day. And all this was like a list of what I had said. It was crazy. I was just like, come on, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made way for me. The commercial, because my agent in Dallas was like, oh my God, Mia, like, we can't do this. Da-da-da-da. They're going to da-da-da. And so when I arrived to the commercial shoot, they were like, of course we had to let you go shoot Young and the Restless. Are you kidding? Like, we could fit you. And they fit me the day, of. So
yeah.
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 Young and the Restless, probably the most nervous I've ever been on set in my entire life. And when I tell you I won't even call them 3 lines. I had 4 words to say. And I felt like my mouth was stuck together. I was so nervous. I was in the scene with everybody I had watched for 10, 11 years. And it was Nikki and Victoria and third person. I was like, Nick. Oh my God. So it was just all these people. And they were going. And so all I knew was I'm playing this police officer. So just be a hard ass. Just don't smile, da-da-da. And I had to like almost stay like that. Usually I can play around and talk to you.
In between. Yeah.
Hell no. I was just like, okay, that's the line. Stop. Go. Don't do it. You should have seen me. And Nikki kept saying, oh, we don't mess with her. Mia, if she tell us to get up and move, we get up and move. And then Nikki around the corner.
Amazing.
She was like, oh, don't play with Mia. And he said, I saw her, I heard her in there. And I was wanting to laugh and participate, but I was like, okay.
You're like, I'm going to blow my cover. Like, I can't do this. Yeah. Like, I will, if you lose it one, you're like, oh, it's done for. That is so funny. I
thought I was going to piss my pants. I was so nervous. I was so starstruck. They probably wouldn't have never known, but I was on the inside, and I've been down with some pretty big hitters. And nobody made me feel like that.
That's so funny. I mean, look, I feel the same about people like from 90s sitcoms, even if I feel like the world's biggest celebrity could walk down the street and I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But if somebody from Boy Meets World came walking down the street or did you watch All My Children?
Yeah, that's where I started. My mom was on All My Children. I mean, watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom watched All My Children and One Life to Live every single day. And it wasn't until later we got into General Hospital. But I saw Tad Martin at the grocery store, and he walked around the corner and I went, and he looked
I met Tad too. My mom met him and nearly lost her mind. Michael, I think he was wrong. Yeah. Yes. And he was so nice to her.
Yeah, he was the nicest person ever. And he came walking around and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like my childhood just walked around the corner. And he was like, I've never heard that before. That's so sweet. And like took a picture with me in Ralph's and like I sent it to my mom. But it was like, I grew up and I was a little kid watching these things. But I remember Tad and Dixie.
My dad would get mad at my mother because I would be sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
Like a little girl, like stuck.
Yeah.
And I know exactly Jesse and Angie, just everything on my children's show. The funniest thing when I told you that the girl hooked me up to be an extra on Young and the Restless, the first person I meet coming in to sign in is Peter Burton, which Peter was Jack. Jack. He's Jack on Young and Restless, but he was Cliff on All My Children. It was Cliff and Nina. He was beautiful. Anyway, he comes walking out the door and I went, he said, hi. I said, you're Cliff. And he's like, exactly, Peter. He's like, oh my God. I said, my mother had me watching you every day. So he showed me to my where the dressing room area was. And we talked. It was everything.
Yeah. It's like in Friends when Joey takes Rachel to set and she's just like freaking out over everybody there, or the soap opera party on the roof. And I'm going to a soap opera party. And it's like, I think people shit on soap operas so much. And I'm like, why though? Like they are putting in so much work every single day. Like they're filming an episode a day. That is not easy.
Every day. And that's what I mean. That's why I was also so nervous when I did Young and the Restless, because I knew it wasn't no cut and go back. In line, we're moving on. And that's exactly where it was. I was like, it wasn't consecutive lines. So my lines would come up after a certain point for each thing. And you had one take. And they had tons of lines. And they were screwing them up and doing whatever. But they've been on there for life. So they could do that.
Right.
But me, I was like, I'm not going to mess up this one line, and they have to say anything to me because the man is talking to you. I don't know if you've ever been on soaps before.
I've been on the set of one multiple times. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the director is like not even there. He's talking to you from this box.
Like an intercom. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, please come on, walking. He said, Mia, don't be so mean this time. He said, the first time do this. And now this time that I was like, got it. So yeah.
Yeah. Now growing up, when you're watching these shows, what was the first time you saw yourself in a character?
Ooh, I guess because I just used to look at everything for fun. I loved to Gilligan Island. Of course, I wanted to be Ginger, but it was just, I never really, until probably I started watching Sex in the Cities. What was that? Back in the 90s or whenever it was hot. I started watching it and I immediately said, oh God, I'm Carrie. Like,
really?
Thing about me is Carrie. Like I put on clothes now. I mean, I started to take a picture earlier going to church. I had on my little jacket. I had on my thing. I was like, oh, I'm having such a Carrie moment. Because to me, she aligns with fashion. She aligns with like, it's a quirky kind of fashion. Like I ain't trying to wear, I don't have to have on name brand nothing, even though she was big on name brand. But if it's a cute shoe, some cute little jewelry, just to look jazzy and cute. And she will walk down the street and I just thought I was Carrie. If I could have Carrie hair, baby, y'all couldn't tell me nothing. So, really, to be honest, it probably is Carrie was my first like real world that I can think of right now to say that's when I said, oh, I could be her. I mean, that's me. Yeah. In those moments. Because I'm rewatching the series all over again for the third time. So it's crazy.
That's so funny. I never started watching Sex and the City until my 30s, which I'm happy that I waited because like I had seen the movie.
First of all, you look 16. So
oh my God. Thank you.
30.
Thank you so much.
You look 16, but okay. Wow.
Saving that clip forever.
As you should.
I'm going to wake up every morning and just listen to your voice telling me I look 16.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But so I only had seen the movie because they played it in this doctor's office in the waiting room every day. And so that's the only thing I had seen. And then during COVID, I watched Sex and the City. And I had so many emotions watching it for the first time. I hated Big so much, like truly was like, are you kidding me? And then I hated Carrie for a hot second because I'm like, how are you this stupid? Like there's no way. But then
screwed up on Aiden. I just yeah.
But then I'm like, we've all been there. We've all been there. And there were so many behaviors in the relationships with the friends and the men where I was like, it was a reflection of literally everything I had ever been through in my late 20s. And I was like, oh, I'm never acting that way again because that's how stupid I look. And like, but also The thing about that show that means so much to me is how important female friendships are.
Mm-hmm.
And Samantha is my favorite because that woman would do anything for any one of them.
I love her. Yeah.
I love her so much.
I love her. Yeah.
And
I fell in love with her in Porky's that I wasn't supposed to be watching when I was little.
I need to watch that. I was just watching an interview of her talking about Porky's and how it kind of like put her on the map, but also, she was like not getting roles because of that role because they thought it was
almost like a typecaster. She's like a younger Samantha then. So, but she was the bad girl. It was like, oh, you did that. You know what I mean? And so now to see her as Samantha or then, it was to see her grow into, I am that. And it's okay. Like she was cocky then in Porky's. I mean, briefly. It was just a brief. I remember anybody who saw Porky's remembered her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like Sex and the City, everybody remembers Samantha.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Times I feel like Samantha sometimes, and I feel like Charlotte sometimes, and I feel like Miranda sometimes, but for the most consistently, I'm Carrie. Yeah.
Now, for the sake of argument, because a lot of people who are rewatching Sex and the City or seeing it for the first time, a lot of people say that Carrie is not a good friend.
Right.
And I want to hear from you why she is. Or do you agree?
Well, let's say this. I said that, Carrie is me. And I've had the same friends since 6th grade, 8th grade, and 10th grade. We're still today just as tight as we are, and we're this. And when I was talking to one just the other day and I was going, you know what? I have to re-examine myself because I have this life of, I'm the only one that's just everywhere. You know what I mean? They're solid. They were in their career. They're heavy, and I got all these kids and I got all this and I'm everywhere, but they have to call me. And then, you know what I mean? And they call me and I be like, oh, and I respond or, we catch up, we this and that, but I'm never really calling them. Like I have a best friend of my life. And most of the time she'll go, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to call you to see where you're at and what you're doing. So I have a lot of Carrie because Carrie is so, in a sense, neurotic. You know what I mean? She's all over the place and she's a writer and she's an artist. So we live in a different type of world than the other ones. Samantha and her public relations and Charlotte and her life and her art gallery. Everything is pretty, and Miranda as a lawyer, that's pretty stable. Carrie's the only one that's kind of free. And kind of wandering in a sense. It's day to day. Her research is day to day. My research as an actor is day to day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not that she's a bad friend. It's just she's not the stable friend. She's the best friend. She's the, if you need me to come over there and hold you up, I will. But I really ain't got time for this shit. But okay. Love you. You know what I mean? And I'm everybody's best friend. But I just that. I'm in that moment. Then I'm off to something else, or it's the men, or it's the, I'm now dating. And so really that's why I'm back identifying with the show. Plus I wanted to see and Just Like That. So I went and watched the first season of Just Like That. And that, and I haven't started season 2 because I'm going to finish watching Sex and the City all over again. Just to, they've already given me a spoiler and I know Aiden's coming back and I'm just about to lose it. But I named one of my children Aiden.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I'm so team Aiden. He was just like, he was the best. He was the best. Like, Carrie, why did you screw that up?
Me and Carrie are both like crazy. When I forgot to tell you one of my favorite episodes, I had wrote it down and I was like, oh shit. See that's kind of Carrie moment. You know what I mean? Like I know what I told you I was going to do it. And it was like, oh shit, So, but one of them, where is it? It's 2 of them. One, before you even reached out to me, I had recorded it on the scene. I was going to put it on my story of when he gets married and he's, to the first time to Natasha, and he's sitting in the limo and she says something and it's magical moment. I was like, oh my God, because I have a guy that I've dated off and on since 21, but we've been knowing each other since 2008 when I first moved out here. He's my Mr. Big.
We all have one.
He annoys the out of me. You hear me? Like if I could, and he knows he's Mr. Big because I tell him he's Mr. Big. And then when I start watching, because have you watched Just Like That?
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, oh my God, Big died. And he was like, name me after somebody that would die, but he literally, and so And I used to be in love with Carrie and Big. I wanted them together, except for this. Now I'm living through it and going back through it. I said, he was such a butthole. And
Yeah.
Aiden should have been, I loved Aiden when Aiden came, but I wasn't as heartbroken the first time I watched the series because I wanted her with Big.
Yeah.
But going back and watching it, and my daughter, who's 24, she started watching it with me, and she was just like, he's such a butthole. And I was like, he's such so-and-so. And she was like, I can see that. Like, he's just taking me on this roller coaster for no reason. So untouchable, and it's him. He's so, yeah. So
it's interesting because I think, and again, that's why I love that I watched it in my 30s, because had I watched it in my 20s, I probably would have been like, oh, Big and Carrie, they're perfect for each other, because that was what I was going through. But now in my 30s, I'm like, girl, like, get it together. And I love Samantha so much because she's so to the point and looks out for herself all the time. And so that is like somebody I channel. Like when I get dressed and I go out and I'm like, I'm not feeling the most confident, I'm like, let me channel my inner Samantha Jones, because how would she handle this? And one of my favorite things is like, when you're in a relationship, does he make you feel like this or this? And like does that to her face. And she's like, that's all you have to ask the question to. And I'm like, yeah, that's literally as simple as it has to be. And I find that, yeah, like Samantha just simplifies life and she's free and she's who she is, where Carrie is in the weeds of it all the time.
Oh, I'm so Carrie. I went on a date last night for the first time. It was our first date.
Oh my God, tell me.
Yeah, I went in like you. I'm gonna, like really be Samantha. I'm walking into this fancy restaurant. I got on this little dress. My hair's up in a bun and everybody's looking. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm early because he hasn't gotten there yet. And I have all this. And we sit down and we dinner. And, I'm just, proper. And probably like halfway, I don't know what I said or what I did. And he just bust out laughing. And at that moment, I had become Carrie. I had become Mia.
Yeah.
I had been the free, cool girl. I'm not into all this bullshit pretending,
right?
Or, you know what I mean? Or being somebody I'm really not. I'm gonna be me. And I did that the rest of the night, and he just kept cracking up. He was like, I can't, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then we became real. And so that's last night, even to that moment, I went, you know what? You're not Samantha. You are Carrie. So
yeah,
you gotta be who you are. And that's clumsy, and that's, I might pick up the steak with my hand, or it might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not all sexy, and I wish that just, I become sexy just by being Mia, by mini Carrie. So
yeah, that's so true. One of my favorite episodes, and something that I've been feeling so much of lately, is when Carrie goes to the baby shower and somebody steals her Manolos, and the woman like doesn't care essentially, and isn't like willing to pay for them. And she's like, $400, that's a lot of money on shoes. And Carrie's like, I'm sorry, I've given you money for your wedding and your baby shower and this and that. Like, just because I am single and not in a relationship and not having a baby, like nobody's giving me anything. Like, this is what I choose to spend my money on. And I've been feeling, those are my babies. And so I've been feeling like that, where I'm like, I notice a lot of my friends are at a time in their life where they're married, or they're having kids, or they're moving in with their boyfriend. And I am still single and living alone and getting my career together. And it almost feels like, oh, well, you guys are out on a double date. And like, I didn't get invited to that, but I guess it was like a couples only thing, or like they all brought their kids. And you're like, why am I being left behind? Like, and so it's a really interesting feeling, and you're almost grieving some friendships, even though they're still existing and there's still strong bonds, but they're just so different from what they used to be. So that's when I feel the most like Carrie, when she's just kind of like, everybody around me has all these things, and like, I'm buying shoes.
Right. Like, what's going on? Right.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I really don't identify with. Like, I had the marriage, I've done it all, but I'm still in, possibly gonna face one day getting married for the third time. But that time, I think I'll be more grounded. But right now, I think I was Carrie in my marriages. You know what I mean? It was still, I guess my career was in my shoes. LA was my shoes. Everything that could get me to LA, anything that could get me on a TV set, or, working on a show, that was what I gave my attention. That's what I love. That's what I crave. And so even when I had kids, I was still pursuing this dream.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had to, and if this is too personal, you can say no thanks, but did you feel like you had to choose between your marriage and your dream?
Oh, definitely. Especially the second. Well, the first and the second, but the second hit a little harder because he was an actor as well. So I thought I had gotten in a relationship with someone who could truly understand and identify with me. Like we would be going through the motions together, cheer on together, and understand the business together.
Right.
And it really became more of a competition. And your career is less important because I'm a woman and I'm bearing the children and I have the education. So I should go work the full-time job, support him while he gets on, and then he'll come back and get me on. And he showed me in many rooms that wasn't going to be the case. When you got on, it was all about you. It was never reaching back for me. And then when I got on, it was always, oh, well, she did this. Oh, she did that. That's how she got that. You know? Yeah, it was not the best. So yeah, I always had to choose. And so part of my singleness now is I don't want to have to choose. I don't want to have to compete with, or that you feel you're in competition with this career, because you're going to always be in a competition. So I need someone who understands that.
Exactly. And somebody that like knows how hard this is and is going to make it easier, not harder.
So I keep thinking in my mind, and maybe I'll start manifesting it, because I'm not sure right now if I'm where I need to be a wife and a mother at the same time of people who these aren't their children, or be an actor and still a wife and give the attention I need to. But I said it'd probably be someone like a director or producer. It's going to be someone along that lines where it's not a competition and he's happy for me and he can help me and I can help him. I'm a great creator. I'm not for this. I'm not organized enough to, we kind of
balance.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's definitely hard. And I think when you're doing so well also, it's just so it's so crazy to me that men get so intimidated by successful women. And I look at, Jennifer Aniston is my North Star. And I'm like, she's still single. She's living in a house in the hills with her dogs. I'll do the same. Like, that sounds great to me. If nobody else is involved in the picture, that's fine. I have my friends, I have my dogs, I have my own house. Like, perfect. Sign me up. I'm working. Sign me up.
And it's just about finding people on your same level. I would have to dig through my notes, which I'm mad at myself because I didn't highlight it so I could go find it easily, because I put everything in my notes. All of my feelings, all of my anxieties, anything, I write it in my notes real quick. Like I write notes. And so when that episode came up, I had it and I wrote it down because, and you may know it, it was when she was dating the young guy. It's early on. I think it's season 4. And
the one who still lives at home. Yeah.
And they're smoking a weed and, and the mom's coming on, but that's that kind of thing. I've dated, even I've had a young guy I've been dating now for a year. But it's just, my question was for myself, just like as I was looking at Carrie, is how do I tend to choose men that are not on my level? Like I tend to choose someone that is still struggling or still trying to figure himself out. And what does that do for me? Is that because do I choose them because it empowers me, or do I choose them because I'm such a nurturer? But I think probably last night's date was probably the first time that I felt like, I've had it a couple of times where they're like on another level, and I love it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm the needy one, and that's me, because I'm usually the one that's in control. I'm usually the powerhouse. I got a master's degree,
Right.
Could easily get a PhD in my head. You know what I mean? I can do school. I can do it all, but I don't want to have to. And usually I had to. And the date guys, like, they don't have it all the way together, got 4 or 5 baby mamas. And Mia, what are you doing? Yeah. And I question myself, but that's who I connect with. That's who I'm having the most fun with. That's where I feel I can be myself with. Yeah. And so when she had that episode and she was sitting there and the chicken, and then she just left, I was going, this is so me. And I wrote in the notes, like, that's the issue. Like, why would Carrie, and I think she asked the question too, like, it was something like that. And I was like, yep, that's me. That's me. Yeah. Right now.
Do you think it's because you know it won't go anywhere deep down?
That's what I don't know. That's a good idea because maybe I know, like, it's one, I swear to God, I love him right now.
Yeah.
And just, where is this going to go? It can't possibly go anywhere. You're 15 years younger than me. You have 4 children. You don't have a technical job. You know what I mean? You can't do anything for me, but I love you. You know? Like, and then the one that has it all together, you're boring the shit out of me. You're boring. You know what I mean? I hope none of them ever listen to this podcast. They would all know who I was talking about.
Right.
The ones that are my age, and then, or you are on to something right there, Brittany, because that could be it. I intentionally try to get with these guys. Like, it's another one, and he's 2 years older than me, and he's sexy as I'll get out. He looks good. He doesn't look his age. He's very outgoing. We go and we have the best time. We go out and we have fun, but I've never been to his house. He's walked me to my door. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really know about you. I don't really, and that's okay. So we intrigue each other.
Right.
So I think I maybe, really deep down inside, it's a fear of getting committed. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean I think that with someone like you, where you're at in your career right now and how together you seem very together to me. You're so, you handle shit, you get shit done. And like, I think that the right guy will come along the second you stop looking. And that's how I tried to believe everything, because anytime I've ever seeked it out and been like, I want to date again, I end up dating projects, not partners. And it's like, I don't. And I find that I will want to go out on dates, and like, I'll be, when everything else in my life seems too much, I'm like, well, let me start dating, because then I can focus on fixing somebody else instead of fixing myself.
Very true. Now, I do know that.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. So let me fix you over here. And I did that in both marriages.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you need this, and let me help you find God, and let me help you find your career path. Yeah. Let me help you do this. And really, I should have been focusing on me
Yep. Yeah. Like, you're not my problem. And now I think, like, in my 30s, again, I've definitely gotten to the point where, like, friends, relationships, family, like, I am way better at sticking up boundaries and being like, this is your problem and not my problem, and not my circus, not my monkeys. Like,
good for you. I still get so involved. Yeah. I go to the circus every day. Whether it's with my siblings or my best friends or a man, or my kids, I'm in a circus every day. And so, I really wouldn't know what else to do, because I keep looking for this, when the kids graduate and I'm finally an empty nester, I'm going to find the love of my life, because I'll have that time to give. Mm-hmm. I'm not really good with, I am good with multitasking, but when I love hard. And when I give, I'm a mother to the 10th power. I'm a sister to the 10th power. So in my last ex-husband, that's what he said, because I'm also in a sorority, and I was in that for the 10th power. And he said, I got to compete with this. I got to compete with that. And I was like, oh, are you really competing? Like, but he said, you give me no attention, but you don't deserve my attention the way you are. Like, me, like, knock it off.
Yeah. Now, is there an episode of Sex and the City that, like, makes you cry every time you watch it? Like, you're like, I know that if I watch this, I'm going to cry. Oh,
well, it was up until this point. It was like when she broke Aiden's heart, when he's like, I can't, and I'm just like, but definitely when Big dies, like, she walks in there. I mean, to me, it was just a flash of everything built up to everything they've done, everything. And you dead? Like, it's almost like she got robbed. And seeing Natasha again and all that, it was just emotional. Not meant to be an emotional show. Mm-hmm. It could have been the same. I guess I'm more into, because of where I'm at in my life and the age group that they're in now. Mm-hmm. So on Just Like That, when Miranda starts messing with
Che,
they'll call it Callie from
Grey's. I know.
Yes. Yeah. But when she's telling Carrie, like, remember they get busted in Carrie's
in the kitchen.
apartment.
How could I forget? It's seared into my brain.
You know what I mean? But when she like cries about it, like telling her like I deserve, like, just how really unhappy she was and how happy this was making her feel. Oh, I boohooed like a baby, because to me that's identifying with me. If I could really just do what I wanted to do, to be who I want to be, that's so freeing. And that, and to be living it otherwise is a tragedy. You know what I mean? And that's where I just felt like she was like, everything could look great to everybody else, but if I'm not living my truth or living what really makes me happy, what really, and I fight with that a lot, and not, I'm not gay or, I don't have that going on, that battle, but you can still have that battle going on without that. It's me is be free. Like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to, I've always battled with just having casual sex, married, but, part of me want to be Samantha and just go, wow, and do what I should be okay with that. But instead, if I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to hell. And like, what, so it's a constant battle of being who you are and being happy in who you are and know that that's okay.
Right. And wouldn't the world just be full of so much more love and like be such like, not to get like woo woo, but it's like, imagine if everybody just got to be themselves and wasn't afraid to be themselves and like wasn't afraid that like their rights would be taken away. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if we all just felt free and happy, and like that when you feel that way, you inspire other people to feel that way and you give them the permission to feel that way. And even though like, because people are looking for permission 90% of the time to feel a certain way or feel seen or feel like they are worthy of speaking how they actually feel. And so I just think about that, of like how amazing that would be if everybody could just live life authentically.
Yeah. But then again, it would be kind of scary. We need the boundaries in the sense. Everything from becoming a big shit show. But if if you could do it, live freely and yet operating your true self, I think it's beautiful. And I have been. That's what I think this journey is for me now. I've been apart from my last husband since July 2020, so going on 3 years. And I'm finally, I think, this year kind of settling into, I'm okay. This is cool. I'm doing whatever the heck I want to do. And I answer to no one.
Yeah.
Where I've been trying to do all the, you know what I mean? The bad thing is not that I don't want to be in a relationship or be in this, but it comes with so much, such a list, you just can't be yourself, because now you got to think for the other person too. So you being single and be like Jennifer Aniston and go live up on your hill and, with your damn dog. Probably the best thing ever.
Right. It's kind of like the episode of Sex and the City where Aiden's like making the house and everything. And she's like, I just need to come home and not hear anything. And I'm like, that's how I would be. Like, I don't want to wake up and hear people talking. I don't want to go to sleep and hear people talking. Like, I need my own moment. I need my coffee. I need, my routine before I can incorporate somebody else's feelings into my life. So it's almost like I've been single for so long and doing things on my own for so long in a really comfortable way. I don't even know if I would know how to do it. If somebody came along, I'd be like, I'm sorry, you want to sleep in the same bed as me?
I think that's my Mr. Big's problem.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so used to just doing things his own way. And he doesn't have kids, never been married. So he doesn't have that understanding.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough when you guys, because you've been this way for so long, and he's in his 40s now. And what? You know what I mean? And I'm so used to having a house full. I'm so used to shit not happening at night, waking up, texting people, shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me to be alone, I don't know what that's going to look like.
It's so interesting. That's why I love this, is because it's like we can watch the same exact show and love the same character for so many different reasons and have so many opposites of how we relate to the show. But at the core, it's literally all the same. And I love it so much.
And that's a well-written show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wrote that show when people can take the same character and pull so many different things out of it. And that's the kind of character I want to be. That's the ultimate goal. I don't know if that was another question coming, but in my the height of my career, I'll be on this television show and I'll be that character that you could relate to on so many different levels, and she'll be around for a long time. So.
Right. I think, again, we like watching shows that reflect our lives, that we can see ourselves in, that help us to get through something. Like, there have been times I was watching a show and I didn't even know I needed to hear something, and I heard it and it gave me courage to make a decision. And so that's exactly the same. It's like, that's what I want to do for somebody else. That's what I want to be for somebody else. And like, I look at the cast of Friends, like, there are literal days where I think like, there's no way I can live my life like this any longer. And like, you're so depressed and you feel alone. And I put this show on and I'm like, no, but they're here. And like, imagine being that for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, someone's like, I just need to listen to their character so that I could fall asleep. Like, that's crazy that so many people do that.
I'm about to say, I had this, it's crazy that you say this, because one of my really good girlfriends out here, we were sitting in the car yesterday and we were just talking about how life is hard, and she was going through a depressed moment. And she said, honestly, friend, it's sad, but the only time I'm happy is when I put on, I think she watches like reality. She said Real Wives of something. And I was, and I totally don't watch reality. And she said, it makes me feel good. I said, that's the way I feel with Sex and the City. If the people just leave me alone when I'm having a bad day, I can go put it on and, oh my God, and just, their chaos makes my chaos feel normal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's such a good show.
When it comes to mental health, what do you find that you struggle with the most?
Probably, knowing who I am. Just, and that's kind of crazy. I mean, you just, hit some things, like some of the hidden things, what's really making me tick and make the decisions that I make.
Yeah.
Bothers me. It's like, Mia, why? And it's like, when I say my prayers, I pray to God all the time, like, Lord, just protect me from me.
Oh, Mia.
Seriously, because I can make some of the craziest decisions, off the cuff decisions, and it's okay. I was talking to the dude last night on the at the date, and I was just like, it was a time of my life. I would marry people just because, or date people because I'm in love. I think I love you, you love me, and that's gonna work. And that's fucking fantasy. I stay in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Pisces too. I like horoscopes. And we're just kind of like, so mental health struggle for me is just, okay, calm down, Mia, and be authentic. I stopped drinking about a month and a half now.
Congratulations.
And not to say I was an alcoholic, but however, I was telling him that last night because I didn't order a drink, and he was like, wow, this is, cool. And I was like, I want to be in moment with people, present. I want to really know that I'm absorbing and that it's not alcohol or anything that took me and to have me bubbly and I'm seeing something that I shouldn't see, or, you know what I mean? And it has helped. And it's just been from filming this year. I've done some shows and go to the party and you drinking. So it's all hee ha ha, but you're not capturing the moment or really listening to people or understanding who you are in that moment, and to be as real as you can be you, without anything hindering that or adding to it. So I would think mental health, I'm working on it. I'm working on just being authentic and present in that moment, even for my friends. I told my friends, okay, I'm going Tuesday, I'm going to call you. Tuesdays is my day to check in. I've been doing it on Wednesdays because
hey, you're a work in progress.
You know what I mean?
We'll get to Tuesday.
Yeah, right. And so she just laughed. She was like, it's Wednesday. I was like, I know. Tuesday. Not happening because I said it was going to happen. So it's not.
Right. So it's a lot of self-sabotage and being hard on yourself.
Yes. So I have to, now I'm starting to embrace who I am, but the real me, and trying not to be so go with the wind, adjusting who I am according to the room or where I'm at.
Yeah.
Feeling just, really want to be kind of present.
Yeah. I don't drink. I haven't drank for 7 years now because I was having the same thing. It was like, I just felt like nothing great is happening. And there's so much I don't remember, and for why, and now I can go and and I already have a really hard time being present because I catastrophize every single moment, like the most intrusive thoughts in the world.
Right.
But now I can remember instances so clearly, and I just have more gratitude towards small things and smaller moments. And I could find the really mundane, like beautiful, as opposed to being like, oh, we got to kick this up a notch. Like, who wants to just sit by a pool? Like, we need to like drink and sit by the pool. And it's like, well, no, it's really nice to just be able to sit here and enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. I told my sister this morning on my way to church, she said, I said, I went on a date with someone last night. I said, and it's weird because I think I like him. I was like, and I kept sitting there going, what don't I like? Or da, 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 da. But it was because I was in the moment and we really just had a nice good dinner, and he chose not to drink because I wasn't drinking. And we really had some serious, I mean, it may not go nowhere and that's okay. Right. But it was my first like date without alcohol, without, enhanced.
That's good. Congrats.
So.
That's good because it's also a buffer, like, and you can't really get to know somebody when they have a shield up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, if this person likes me, it's because it's who I am. Mm-hmm. And like, I think too, watching Sex and the City is a lot of understanding who you are and being proud of who you are, realizing that you have these flaws, but then the people in your life love you because of these flaws.
Yeah.
Like what you think is bad about yourself is what other friends are like, no, this is what I love about you. This is why I need you in my life.
Yeah. My best friend tells me that all the time. It's you. She was like, you bring an energy and a presence and a love. You may not have the finances or the things that we have, but it's your presence and your free spirit and the way you love people. Like you authentically love them. You may be there for a second, or you may be there for, on an hour for a phone call, but you're there. And I'm living something that they couldn't dare live. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. So when you are having a hard day, what is something that keeps you inspired? It's probably the acting. I say that because I can find inspiration in so many things, from my kids to the career to my spiritual connection with God, to where I feel like every day is a new day. Like I have hope. Sometimes I sit back and when I'm like down in my last, like I'm tired of driving Uber. I'm tired of, it's the first again. You know what I mean? Time for rent, and all that. And then I go, oh, but tomorrow I could get the phone call out of my life and it could just shift that quickly. And I've had it shift that quickly. Mm-hmm. So I know it's just a bad day. And sometimes I'll just go to sleep on it and be like, yeah, in the morning. So I'm inspired by hope and the chance, the possibility that life could just be magical tomorrow. You know what I mean? I love that. And that's so beautifully said. And it's just having faith, like whether it's in God or yourself or the universe, like just having faith that like, it's going to be okay. It always has been okay. I've always figured it out. And like, just remember to be kind to yourself in the process. And my friend will say, cause I'm very hard on myself too. He was like, you have your foot on your neck right now. Like you need to stop. He'll say to me, if I texted you all of this, what would you say to me? And he'll make me like speak like I'm speaking to him and then read it for me to hear to myself and kind of snap myself out of that moment of like beating myself up. And now when I go to bed, I'll say like, thank you, God, for showing me that everything always works out for my highest good. Universe, please show me how it gets better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I end every night like that. And sure enough, that's what happens because like you said, I mean, look, there have been days that you're like a complete wash. You're like, I couldn't turn it around today to save my life. Nah. But you know what? I just look at it like people on Friends feel like that, or, the characters on Sex and the City. And when I have those days, I find that I will have Carrie Bradshaw like in the back of my head being like, and I left the restaurant that night. Yeah. And like, just like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, so I have to, when those days do happen, I have to romanticize them and like make them seem really spectacular, or else I'll go down the hole of like just so depressed about life. Where you don't want to get out of bed. And then sometimes I'll lay there so long for like 2 days, probably tops for me, because I'm a busybody and I can't. It would be hard, probably harder for me. And that's why I know God knows the best if I didn't have children. Mm. The children make me know I have to get up. Right. Like you can't give up on you because you can't give up on them. that gives me, I guess, an inspiration I have to keep going. Like these little people are waiting on me. They got to eat.
Right.
If it was me, I probably go 3 or 4 days and just lay in bed and not eat and just do that. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I'll lay there and then I go, okay, get your ass up. It's time to go. Let's go do something. Go. Yeah. My biggest thing is the side of my bed. If I could take the camera over to the side of my bed, you would probably understand what I'm saying. Like when I come in, I just drop everything. Like everything becomes. So then when I get up in the morning, I try to make it a ritual to get on my knees and pray. Some days I'm like over there kicking all the stuff like over on the side. And I'm like, God help me. I just need to clean the side of my bed and I'll feel better.
That's so funny. We all have that.
I thought it was just me.
No, we all have the little portion of, I was just telling my girlfriend this morning, I will clean my whole apartment, literally dust, Swiffer, vacuum, the whole 9. I will not go make my bed. Why? It makes no sense. And I'm like, if I can just make my bed and there's clothes on top of it and there's jewelry. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just my last straw. I won't do it.
Inside of the bed. I'll make the bed. That makes me feel like, oh, the room looks decent now. But if I walk on the other side, I mean, I'm talking about I'm looking at it now like bags of hair, like from braids and shit.
Yeah.
I have nowhere else to put it. Those scarves, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being really hopeful and like finding inspiration through hope, I know that there's a story recently of you booking something that was very big. And at first it was like just going to be something small. And then it turned into something bigger, which is really incredible that that's happened to you a couple of times now. And I think that is what gives me hope when I do have these like one-liner auditions. Like you just never know. Can you tell me about that and what project it is?
Yes. If you're talking about the one just here lately that I can talk about it and not talk about it. Let's see that. So I got an audition and I think I heard Daisy. I listened to it.
Yeah, it was a Tyler Perry project.
Yeah. So, and I'm not supposed to say that, but
it was a Tyrese Powell project.
So I get this audition from my manager that was new for the same project. I get an audition from him. And it was like a crackhead role or whatever. And I was like, I'll never be a crackhead because I'm too thick. But okay, I'll do it. And it was cool. And I was like, I'll do it. And then Desi sent down the same day an audition. And she wasn't, it sounded amazing, sound just like me, but it was nudity. And I went, Des, I got, how many fucking times do I have to check out here? No, I don't do nudity because my stomach looks like, somebody put a crayon to it, like knock it off. So I call her and I'm like, dude, I can't, they said full nudity, like, this one implied nothing in sexual situations. I was like, nah. She's like, Mia, do the audition. Just do the audition. They may see something else or see you for real. I said, well, I already read over here for this one, but I should just do it. We'll cross it. I noticed what you said, but you just never know. So of course I get so they call me back. They end up calling me for that role, not the manager's role. I get called for that role. And I was like, oh my God, that's like, what I'm gonna do, So I do the audition and I love it and I'm doing it. And then, like I said, they call me and they say, they pin me and put me on hold. And I'm like going, so I sit down with my kids and I'm just like, yo, you might see my titties. And my kids are like, we just gonna say it ain't you. And I'm like, okay, roll with it, right? And then like a week later, they call and say that I'm released from the pen. Yeah. I'm like driving. And I always pray about everything because I was like, well, God, if it ain't a door for me, then I'm not worried about it. And I've learned to do that. So I was going, and then when they said I didn't get it, I was like, damn. I was like, okay, well, just not meant for me to do that. And that's okay. Kept it pushing. And, we were both like, sucks. And then it came back around the week later. Like it was a Thursday. I'm driving Uber, man in my back of my car. His feet are up on my door. But nothing I could do. And I'm like, I'm on a 30-minute ride. She's like, Mia, I need you to pull off. I was like, Des, I can't, I'm on my headphone, like, I got a customer. As soon as he gets out, I'm gonna call you. I was like, what is it? And she was like, just pull over, whatever. So she called me and she was like, you got to be on a flight tomorrow. They decided to go back to what they originally said, and they really want you. So you got to go. And I'm like, what? But what about so it turned into a very magical, it got even better than that. I am going down there for a guest star role, and this part is still like unknown. It's still an unknown, but it was still the opportunity while I'm on the flight, first class, on my way there. I get a message from an assistant saying that I'm one of the cast members invited to a dinner for only season regulars or heavy reoccurring. And I'm going, they accidentally called me, like, I'm on a guest star. First you cancel me now. And we go the next, so I'm calling Daisy. I'm like, you ain't gonna believe it. I get to the hotel, very immaculate hotel, and they're like, and I'm thinking I'm only there for a couple of days. It turns into 3 weeks. I'm getting paid to just chill in a hotel, and then I get ready to shoot, and even though it's still supposed to be that, nude and all that, it worked out spectacular. You won't see my titties. You might see
and just like that.
It's just like that. Best shit ever. And it's a character, and I just can't wait to see her grow. Like when I get that call to say, hey, we back at it, and this show is being picked up, and because it was a pilot and this and that, I cannot wait to play with her. She's something like different, and I cannot wait. But it all led up for all these experiences I've been having for the last couple of years for that character at this time. So
I'm so happy. My face hurts from smiling. Like, that is such an incredible story. And also, like, it is something that anybody listening to, or even yourself or me, like, we can all hold on to and be like, just because you think it's not working out, like in that moment, doesn't mean it's not working out, because everything always works out for your highest good. I truly, truly believe it. And like, it is just like you said, like tomorrow, the best thing in your life can happen to you, and you won't know it. And
expecting that.
Yeah. And having that mentality attracts stuff like that. You live in that vibe and that energy. And I just think that you can manifest your dream life. I truly do. And people are like, I have some friends like, girl, this is not practical magic. You're not going to like concoct the perfect thing. And I'm like, no, but I am. And I have, and I will.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you did.
I believe it because it has happened.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it's not, you are proof that it does happen. The belief, the faith, the prayer, the will, the hard work, the sacrifice, it all works.
I'm not giving up. Yeah, you can't give up. You can't, because and that's what keeps me in this thing. Because I promise you, in December, I told God, I was like, I'm done. Tell me the next thing. Where do you want me to go? I want to go into mental health. If this is what you want me to do, God, I can't continue this roller coaster. This is a roller coaster because, I had a big highlight last January, and I booked all of 21. And then in 22, I booked something at the beginning of the year, and I didn't book anything else to the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But all those shows came out, so it made it look like
that you were working. Right.
And working at, which I did. I worked the year before, but it just, and so when December came, even when I booked that, I was like, I'm good, God. Like, like, give me something. Please give me something else to do, because this is shit I can't. And second audition of the year turned to that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then this fool called back. Right. And this fool started out kind of like this one went out. This fool, I got a role, a co-star role. They called and said they want to reach you for something else. That role went away. It was the role of Felicia. And so then they told me to read for Kim. So I read for Kim. Then they called Desi back and was like, okay, she's going to be now the new character instead of da-da-da-da. Then they called back and said, you know what? The producer said they like Mia. They chose out of the two people they had chosen, Felicia and Kim, to make it one role, become Kim, and we want Mia. They went with their favorite. And that went from a co-star to a guest star to 1 day to 2 days. at 2 episodes, and then to bring me back this year, and I got 3 more episodes. So
see, and remember that too, because you sit there and you're hard on yourself, and you say, Mia, why are you doing this? But whatever Mia's doing is working. So remember that part too.
Yes. And it's all about the heart. God knows I have a beautiful heart, and I give the world to anybody. And I just, and I'm trying my best to be a mother, to be a daughter. My mom has Alzheimer's now. Just, it's a lot of things going on in my world, and yet I still can find I love people. I love joy. I love peace. And so this podcast, this everything, just to be able to talk to you and vibe with you, I love it. It's
Me too. It's been so fun. And honestly, like, that's why I think I just love the shows of the 90s so much. And I love any moment I can to put my phone down and give somebody my undivided attention, because you learn so much about people. You learn more about yourself. It fuels you for the rest of the day. And it's like, this has been literally so fun. And like, I can't wait to see you again in person. I can't wait to see the shows that you're doing. Also, congratulations on being on Oprah. What?
Like, that email came out of nowhere. And I was like, what? Oprah write me? I'm like, what's going on? And I mean, Abbott, come on. Like,
being on Abbott Elementary, like, that's kind of like being like, if you were to be on Friends in the 90s, like, that's the show that everybody wants to get on.
And at the time, I didn't know, it was one of those auditions where, mama coming in, and I used to be a teacher. I totally in a neighborhood where the parents don't show up. So it was immediate. I knew exactly who I wanted to be. And I did it, and to see what it turned into. And I've gotten so many other offers and projects just from that episode. Even though they didn't bring me back, it's been life. So when it said Oprah, and Oprah is mama's favorite person. Mom loves Oprah and Obama.
Yeah.
If I got an opportunity just for Oprah team to write me and say they need my permission to put the clip, my likeness into her show, come on, girl.
Right.
Come on. I made it. I was like, Mom,
you get a car and you get a car.
And you get a car. And I still believe that I'm going to get an interview with her, just like I'm sitting here with you. And I just
you will. You will. I believe it. Yeah. So Mia, before we go, I like to ask all of my guests, what is either the best piece of advice given to you or the best piece of advice you would give to somebody for their mental health or pursuing this career or just daily life or a belief that sticks with you every single day?
It's probably the one that I give to my sister who really suffers from mental illness really bad. And my advice to her, and I take it in for myself, because at first I was just giving it to her, and then I finally said, I need that too. Every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Every day is an opportunity to recreate yourself, to start over. You don't have to, every day you can wake up tomorrow and decide, okay, I'm doing this today, and this is how I feel, and life is good, and it goes right along with anything could happen. Anything spectacular could change in a moment. So the next day, every morning, I get up with that gratitude of, it's a new day. Whatever I did yesterday, I did some ratchet Mia shit on Friday night. Yeah. And I've been fighting with it ever since, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then yesterday was a magical day, you know what I mean? And then now today, it's been a magical day. And so tomorrow, I get up and I go, all the shit that I was supposed to do, I didn't do, I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Right.
And it's not more of a procrastination. It's a more of, I got a new chance of doing what I need to do, what I'm supposed to do. I get to clean the side of my bed like later on today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's making a conscious decision every day to be new. Forget about what went wrong yesterday, or how bad you were yesterday, or what you didn't get done yesterday. I get to do it today.
Right.
And I'm making a conscious decision to do it. So I just think that's very important to me, for anybody that's struggling with mental health, to know that that's just right now. Tomorrow, you got to give that to yourself. You got to believe it and do something about it.
I love that. And I absolutely adore you. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. This is perfect. I needed it. You know what I mean? I did. It's been a minute. I don't know, a couple of months before I did like an interview, and it's just cool. It's always, I love these things. And every time I go, I'll be back,
Yeah. Look, I am always down to talk about Friends and Sex and the City.
Oh my God. I probably won't get to watch an episode today because I'm supposed to go on another date with someone else. But, and I'm really not seeking these things out. This is like me just totally, this year it was like no date zone. Last year I dated till I wanted to just crawl in the corner and stop talking to people. But now that I've made a conscious decision that I'm not dating, like everybody's calling, let's just sit down and have a drink. I'm like, well, I'm not drinking. Well, let's just get you something to eat then. Yeah.
Like Phoebe Buffet says, he may not be my soulmate, but a girl's got to eat.
A girl's got to eat. You hear me? I love that. A girl's got to eat. I left my leftovers today, so they were spectacular.
Oh my gosh. All right, Mia, we'll have so much fun tonight and just be yourself.
Yep. And you too.
All right.
I can't wait to go to your house up on the hill. Thank you.
First invited. Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you, Brittany, so much.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.